limp hands. Yeah, so I'm just taking like a screenshot.
Okay, okay, but the computer is easy. How do you move the head with the computer? I have seen people in the computer able to move their head.
I don't know. Is my head moving?
No, you should not.
It is moving up and down a little bit, Miriam, as you set your gaze higher and lower. I think it is, yeah, it's tipping.
Yeah, I'm just looking around up and down.
Yes.
Oh,
And
okay.
we see the head move when you do that.
But if you want to take photos in your headset, it's also really easy. And you press the Oculus button one time, and then a little menu will pop up, and there's a camera option.
I will try that afterwards. Right now, yes. I tell you, I managed to we get mixed up.
That's fair.
But I will try that. So yeah, the Oculus menu. I remember there is a menu at the bottom, isn't it?
Yeah, you press
here's like a menu.
Yeah, and then you can do recordings like videos, or you can take photos too. Yeah.
Yep. I'm learning a lot today. I'm having like a 101 how to use this Oculus. Hello, Keith. You are here, but hello, Keith. Hello, Keith.
It's just gone 7, so I think we can start. Sunil is outside catching lights, like stragglers, so I think we can start.
Okay, so it's somebody looking after, right?
Yeah.
Somebody because 7 o'clock, 2 o'clock is it's people after lunch, so maybe it's still. So if you are happy, we can get started. So let me go next to hello, Brendan. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
What does that mean, Brendan? He, him. What is that?
Hey, Brendan.
Hey, it's just my pronouns. So right. For some people, they like being called he, like she, her. Other people like being referred to as they, them. For me, it's he, him.
Okay. Oh no, I'm learning a lot of things today. Okay, so right. Let's get started. I'm going to move next to the statement. So that's the intention, right? So I'm going to get there.
Perfect. And then there is a live stream that is going to YouTube and Facebook if everyone's okay with that, and to Twitter.
Yeah. So if we do that, Brendan, why we don't start with the other room, because we don't have any recording from that room. So we start from the second room.
Sure, wherever you'd like. I just want to let the group know just in case they were uncomfortable.
Okay, so is everybody okay? Are you all right with that, with the recording? Tom and Miriam and Dinesh? Yes, you are okay? Miriam, you can move your head? Yes?
Yeah. Thank you.
And Dinesh, are you okay with it?
Oh, I'm doing the live, so...
Yeah, Dinesh is the one doing the live stream for us.
Sorry. Okay, sorry. I tell you, I don't know who is who here. I get so mixed up. Font. I don't know who is the one in there. Hello, Font. No. Okay. So if you're
Yes.
Just start with this room, okay?
Okay. No, let's start in the other room. But if you go 1 second, if you go outside and you tell, I don't know who's outside telling people where to come to ask them. To come to the second room.
I'll let him know.
You let them know that we are in the second room. Okay, so I'm going to go to the middle. I'm going to go to the second room. Right?
The second room's over here, right? On this side?
The second room is by the statement.
This door here. Yep. All right.
Is this the way for second room?
Yeah.
Okay.
Next to the statement. Yep.
Okay.
Oh,
there we go. Yeah, here we are. We managed to do it. All right. So, yeah. I know it's magical. All right. Okay, so you managed to get it. Yes, it's still missing 2 or 3. This morning I had a problem. I could not get through this room. It was not loading. So I reported, and that was good.
Hello, Dinesh. You are the one who's going to be. Yeah.
Yeah, you're on
Keith,
live
hello.
right now. Yeah.
Okay, we are live. Okay, so it's missing a couple of people, but I'm sure they are going to join us.
Yeah, we can
So
wait for
my
a while.
understanding, my understanding, Dinesh, is that people know that we are in the second room, right?
There's a Chanel in the lobby, so he'll be guiding people to send in this the place where we are right now.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so welcome everybody to Baron Grafton House Future Forward exhibition. It's really exciting to be here in Artgate International 2021 second edition. Because it is really an extraordinary experience to be able to see the artwork to this level of quality and detail. In fact, I am amazed that you can see it even much more clear than if you were in an exhibition itself. So this room, the Future Forward, is all about towards the future. We are in a crucial moment in time where we need to define what is next. We cannot go back to where we were. The past, the world that we knew until now is gone. So it's an opportunity to create the future. So in a world which is going to be with much more technology running our lives, also there are going to be some challenges as how we can connect with people in a much more human way without the distance of the technology, and also how we are going to be looking after the environment. There is a huge urgent call for action to stop using the resources as if it didn't matter. So having these virtual experiences like this one is a great way of looking after the planet and at the same time to be able to connect. So we can have both at the same time, and that is great. So a little brief introduction about Baron Grafton House. It's a gallery that started a few months ago. Before that, we were working with private clients and also collaborating with other galleries. In 2019, we decided that the art world was changing even before the pandemic, and we wanted to take control of how we were presenting our works and how we were showing them. So we decided to create Baron Grafton House as to take control also of our artworks in the world and how they are shown. We started exhibiting with Artsy from last year and building up our audience through that. And when we met Brendan and we heard about Artgate VR, we knew that we wanted to be part of that, because this is the vision that we were having of how to be able to connect internationally with people all around the world without need to moving from home. So that felt really like magic, really. So today we are going to be doing the talk a little differently. Keith is going to introduce, I'm going to introduce Keith himself, and then he's going to talk about his own work, and then I will introduce my work. So Keith had been doing photography for many years. He got a Polaroid when he was 10 and he got hooked. So he always with a camera everywhere. And he collects photographies of the world. He's very curious, from the floor, from the walls, from people, every single thing. And then he's a digital artist. So once traditional photography moved to digital, it felt like a natural fit for him. Also, like VR feels natural to him because again, it's technology at a different level or in a different way. So Keith worked basically with photography and digital drawing and digital painting. And now we are going to go to his work, and you will notice vibrant colors, a sense of humor, and his interest for love and relationships, feelings and emotions, and also the impact of technology in the way that we live and the way that we feel. And for last, also, Keith is interested in urbanistic settings, more looking at the way that we live. So without any further ado, Keith, I invite you to start behind me, I think, the first work. Keith, are you here?
Yes,
No, you're not here.
Yes, he is.
Okay, all right, okay, all right. So let's get started. Let's start with you. Sorry, what do you want to start? Or shall I? Or no? So you know, Keith, let's start with my work that is next to me. Let's go like that. Let's go around, okay? Let's go around because it makes more sense. Oops. It makes more sense. So, oh God, I don't know. I am covering everything, right?
No, you're
Yes.
fine.
Yeah, I need to move. Okay, I got it.
The details on here are incredible.
Right. So sorry, again, am I on top of it? Okay, so here we are. So in this artwork, is all about all this work here of these three works of mine is all about the global change, the climate change, and how to protect the environment. This is a triptych, shallow waters, which represents the first one with the red, represents the danger that at the moment the ocean is experiencing. There are dying species, disappearing species, the coral is getting dry because there is not enough water. And I had seen that myself in the coral reef in Australia, and it really broke my heart. So we can see a net in there. The net represents how all the marine life gets trapped into these nets, and then obviously they get suffocated. So we are converting our beautiful ocean in a plastic soup. And we are not even aware of that, or we don't care enough to do something about, or not enough. So you see all these debris of the bottle of milk and different plastics, all that at the end of the ocean. The next part, which is the blue, is the future. It's a hope of how the ocean can become again without the human interference. There are much more colorful fishes. You can see how is the corals at the bottom is all clear, and I surrounded all with diamond dust as to represent how precious is the ocean for us. I spent all my life, all the summers by the beach and all the weekends by the beach because I'm Spanish, even though I'm living now in London for 25 years. So to me, the ocean is my second home. So when I see these things happening, it really, I need to use the art to make people aware of that. And I try to do it in a way that it's a serious message, but I try to do it in a light way. Because I think that if you do it in a light way, you engage people more. So I try to make it light instead of a heavy subject matter. This work is an etching, it's mixed media. All the work I do is mixed media. It's an etching with dry point and carborundum, and also collage. So I don't know if you have any questions about this work. Or if you go close, you can see the detail. I mean, you really can see the different imprints on the artwork itself, the different levels on the work.
Is somebody playing squash?
So if you are happy, we are going to move to the next one, which is Save Our Summers. And Save Our Summers, again, it's about telling us that if we want to be able to enjoy and have holidays in places that we love, we need to look after that. So
I have
we
a question about the previous piece.
You missed the previous piece? You have a question?
I just have a question about the previous piece.
Yeah, please. Yeah, perfect.
So is that piece, if I were to see it in the physical world, is it a collage where I would actually see the like the fishnet and things like that, or is this a scan? So it would be like a
No. This is collage. The net is collage, and the little bottle and the eggs. It's a tuna fish in there. This is collage.
Got it. So in the physical world, if I were to be seeing it, there would be like these.
You will see that. Yeah, you will see that 3D. It's real 3D. Yeah, and actually they are not flat. They are 3D. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So the next thing for Artgate is to take those 3D for us so we can see that that's
Yes. We're working on the 3D stuff.
Does someone have like feedback in their background? We've got this kind of noise happening.
Yeah,
It sounds like someone's playing squash.
All right. Okay, so let's carry on because the other day we ran out of time. So let's focus on that.
Okay.
So we are here for Save Our Summer. Oops, I am in the middle. One second.
Sorry,
One
Mike.
second.
Maita, one second.
no,
I just want to say if anyone has some noise in their background, you can turn your microphone down, maybe, just so we're not getting that feedback on the recording as well. Just
I'm
a
not
side
hearing
note.
any sound.
Yeah.
Can everybody hear the noise? Because I don't.
Oh, squash
I can't
sound.
hear anything.
Okay, all good, all
Okay,
good.
so in Safe Our Summers is about again the climate emergency, and it shows if you go very close. This is important that you look at this piece close because you see all the detail of all the dripping acrylic. I mean, it's a huge amount of layers of paint in there. It's not flat at all. It is really texture, and you can see how the red acrylic part in there represents the hot summers and how it's becoming hotter and hotter. And the dripping of acrylic represents the melting oceans. And we see how the city we can hardly see the city because it's covered with pollution. So the water, the blue represents the water, the tsunamis, and all these weather disasters that are happening are caused of the climate change emergency. We see a runway there, a runway for the planes, and a plain metal plate at the top, as to question how our lifestyle choices is impacting our planet. So that's why I say I am so happy of being with you here in VR without needing to take a plane to come to the fair and impacting the environment. We see two pieces of rubber at the bottom of the acrylic shape and in the middle of the runway, which represents that there are natural resources like rubber that are good for the environment and also good for the planet. So it's about thinking differently about what we use and what other options are there, because there is options for every single problem. There is always opportunities. And there are little enamels. I don't know if you see a little ice cream and a little sunglasses and a little I love you bubble, which there are real enamels. So there are also 3D. They are real enamels, which has a childhood element to that. Again, I'm trying to bring a little of playfulness to the message, saying, let's be like kids. Remember the summers, remember the great time that we had. Let's make sure that we leave a planet for our future generations, that they can enjoy it as much as we are doing and we did. So I think I would like to move to the next one, and then I ask if there are questions about any of these two pieces because they are related. Oops, one second. One second. Where is it? Where is it? It's here. All right, sorry. I got too far away. So for our future, I am covering you. If you want to go close as well, I think it's important. For again, this one, you can see that we have time. So there is a hope in there. We have still time to revert the situation. And there is a wax seal at the bottom. This red acrylic mark is, which is also 3D actually. It's a big piece of acrylic that I created like a seal, which is about commitment. Are we really committed to the environment? Are we really committed to each other? Are we really committed to solve these issues that we are having? And for our future, the word future doesn't have an R, it has a question mark. The question mark is the question that I would like the viewer to ask as they look at this word. What I am doing to make that situation better? What actions can I take today that is going to revert the situation? So the seal is commitment. I am signing this commitment. I am going to be doing it. So I don't know if there's any question between these two pieces before we pass going to Keith's work. Anybody would like to ask any questions, or I managed to make it clear?
Yeah, it sounds pretty clear.
Is this clear? Okay, so let's go then to Keith's work. So Keith, if you would like to...
I do actually have a question as well.
Yeah, please.
It seems like pretty clear that you were conflicted with flying out to all these international art shows, when that's what the structure of the art world was, going to Art Basel and Frieze and all that. Were you still participating and going to these events, or did you stay local? What were you
I will
doing?
stay local. I will stay local. I will do Fizz
Yeah.
London, as because Fizz London we are in London, so that's natural. But we have taken with Keith, we have taken the decision. I mean, Keith is my business partner, but he's also my husband. We have taken the decision, I think 2 years ago, that we are not going to take any plane unless we can be in a place for 3 or 4 weeks. We are not going to take a plane for 3 days or a weekend. I found
it was really demanding. Like you'd be a different continent every other month. It would seem, if you want to stay up to speed with all the international shows going on. Yeah.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think as well, and I have said that to a lot of people, that I didn't see the point of having to make so many art fairs, to be honest, because it dilutes the market. So I think that the whole thing had collapsed with the COVID, but I think that it was about to happen anyway. So the only thing, it had been accelerated. And I think it's good in one sense, because this acceleration had collapsed how the art world was working before, and people will not have any other choice but to accept that everything, the past is over, and it is time to create the future. And it's up to us how we shape that. And we want to be a voice on how to shape this world. And I think that being in VR with you here is a way of shaping this world and speaking up of what it is that we want as galleries, what it is that we want as artists. Yeah, so I think that we are where we need to be right now here. I think this is the right thing to do.
Yeah, it's almost like a forced rebirth and restructuring.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Very good.
Okay, Keith. So, Keith, are you here? Yeah. Okay, so you start with the first. You start with Alexa knows it all.
Yes, Michael. What I'm going to talk about is the 3 works you see on the wall here, 3 square ones. On that, it's from a series called AI Knows It All, in terms of artificial intelligence. A lot of my work is photographic based. These are all based on photography or digital printing that I've done. The 3 pieces you see here are actually physical pieces. That it's not just digital; they're actually delivered as physical pieces of artwork. And whilst they're abstract, they are quite symbolic of issues. One of the things that concerns me these days is the impact of technology on the way we live, and the way it modifies the way we interact with people, our emotions, and it changes our behavior. So the first one here is next to here. It's called Alexa Do This, because nowadays we are bringing Alexa is a form of artificial intelligence, and we teach it to do the things we like it to do, and it's learning. We're actually giving away at the same time an awful lot of our own personal information about how we think and our behavior. So it's quite symbolic. All the threads in the background represent all the internet connections and all the world we're living in, and the symbols in the foreground are our personality and what we are and how they interact. So the 3 bodies of work are on the basis of artificial intelligence. If I move along to the next one, which is the one with the large orange circle, and this is symbolic again of all the internet connections in the background. And the orange circle, which is like a big eye, it's like it's watching us. One of the things that concerns me these days is the lack of privacy. We've entered into a world where we're giving up an awful lot of our private information for convenience, and we're teaching other AI machines a ourselves. And the convenience is things like we're teaching things like Instagram and Facebook and the like, the sort of adverts we like. At the same time, we're teaching them an awful lot about our own personality, a great deal about our private life. So it's a kind of reflection on what's happening in the world. The last piece in the world here is called Looking Out for You. Very much on the same theme. On that symbology is things like the yellow waveform is there. It's like the thoughts that are moving around in our head, and as they move around in our head, we express them and we move them around through the internet and we connect with the pieces. So that's a brief introduction of the pieces of work. Has anybody got any questions on that?
I have a question about the second piece that you were showing us. With that orange circle eye kind of aesthetic going on. It reminds me of HAL 9000 from the 2001 Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
Is that an intentional reference that's being made there?
It's not intentional, but I mean, like most artwork, it's kind of open to personal interpretation, but it's a fair interpretation of the idea. One of the things I do with my artwork, and the way I work is, I use a lot of photography, and everywhere I go, I take a camera with me, and I'm always taking pictures, and that. The things that interest me is things like textures, and that. A lot of my artwork, I like to put texture, visual texture into them, and that. And I have a big library of all the photographs I take, and I treat the library as like what I've described as my palette. It's like an artist that has a palette of colors. I have a palette of images, and I bring them together to express the artwork that I'm dealing with.
But these are work as well, Keith. I would like to remind you that the circle in the middle represents the biometric photography that is going on right now, face recognition.
Yeah.
So the red lines represent the amount, I think it's like millions of lights that there are placed around your face in order to be able to get all the aspects of your image so that it can recognize if it's you, the person that you say you are. So it's a biometric photography that is becoming mainstream as well everywhere in airports and
We're
different
now
places.
into the world of iris scanning and unlocking a mobile phone with iris scanning, and it's going to become much more prevalent.
One thing that is kind of interesting from my perspective in the VR AR world is considering where this technology will go over the next 5 years, 10 years time. And I know that there's a lot of companies that are working on these sunglasses that you put on where VR and AR is integrated in it, but there's also some that are working on contact lenses. And that orange symbol there kind of makes me think of that kind of advanced technology going right into and on top of the eye.
Yeah. It's the impact of technology on our lives and how it's modifying our behavior.
Mm-hmm.
I think technology is great as far as it develops with ethics.
Mm-hmm.
But values and the ethics, I think that there need to be the pillars where technology is built.
I agree.
So not because we can do something, it means that we're supposed to do it. The question is it right to do that?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Okay, we can move along because I tell you, if we can get philosophical, I love it. So we can be here until midnight. So let's go to the next wall. Keith, you carry on with your work if you are happy with that.
Okay, shall we go to the three on the other side here?
Yeah, here.
Over this way. Just be careful going nearby the kiosk. If you look to your right, you should should be able to press the close button. Oh no,
She's in the upside down.
the upside down. We gotta fix that.
The upside
Yeah, there's a
down.
bug with that eye that you can get into it and then can't get out.
Yeah.
Yeah. We call it the upside down when you go into just a white abyss. Have you ever
Well, luckily
seen
you can
those?
still pull up the menu there.
Pardon me?
When you're in the upside down, you can still pull up the menu.
That's good.
At
to
least
know.
you're something to look
Yeah.
at.
And you
Well,
can
you
kind of
can-
hear it off in the
you can
distance.
teleport
She's like,
somewhere.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
I think
Good way to
you
get out.
have lost Mikey in the input.
yeah.
Okay,
That,
well, she'll work her way back to the room, and she'll
Yeah.
come back to join us. In the meantime, I'll continue. The three works on the wall here, and that are from a series called Techno Love. So it's about relationships and how technology impacts how we conduct our relationships and how we conduct them. So the first one here, the one I'm deciding here, is called Gate 42, and it's a representation of how in the current world, or what the world was, probably sort of famous for it, of flying around and carrying out relationships and the buzz of going to the airport and going away for a weekend or running or having long distance relationships. And that the technology of the airport has a big impact on how we conduct relationships. A lot of relationships are based around airports. We meet people at airports, we go places, we have the emotional thrill of traveling places. And it kind of mirrors what Mikey was going on about the environment and flying and everything else. But flying, it's probably, I mean, once the pandemic is over, I think there's going to be a big rush of people traveling, everything else, and that's going to come back. And the impact of relationships on that. So this is about airports and relationships. And like all my work, it's a physical piece, and that is printed. It's a C-type print, printed on aluminium with a perspex front. The physical work is quite large. It's quite stunning when you see it on that. I must admit, the Artgate does great justice to it. Any questions on that, please?
Which software are you manipulating the images with?
I use quite a lot of Photoshop, and then I use various other drawing packages, but most of it is Photoshop and building up quite a large number of layers. They're quite large images when I'm finished. They're enormous files.
Keith, I noticed there's a number on the panel to the left. Is it significant in some way?
No, not really. I like putting numbers into a number of my pieces of artwork because we live in a digital age. Numbers control have an awful lot of impact on us. So, but it's in a lot of cases, numbers I treat them as quite abstract elements. So it's just part of the composition.
Thank you.
Okay, so shall we move along to the next one? Described as E-type. I think the E-type Jag. The thrill of having a sports car and the technology of cars. Cars have been around now for I think 150 years now. And the fast car, the sports car, has always been an emotional thrill for a lot of people. Still these days. And that, so it's an art to encapsulate the emotion of speed and travel and the E-type Jag, where the archetypal work representation of that lifestyle. Any questions about that?
Do you have one?
No, no. Unfortunately, I don't. It's an interesting feature about living in London. I haven't had a car now for must be best part of 10 years now. Living in London and owning a car is quite a liability. You don't need
Yeah.
one to get, you don't need one to get around London. And the
Toronto's
reality
pretty
is-
similar.
I mean, the reality was the last car I had, parked outside that house, and I got my car. I look at vandalized twice a year. Regularly. And so I got to the point like, well, last car I had, I owned it for 3 years, and I only did 10,000 miles for 3 years. And, and a lot of that time I would take it out just to keep it running. And then I said, no more. I'm like, if I want a car, if I need a car, I'll go and rent one for a day.
Yeah.
Much simpler. And I let it go. And that was actually quite a relief to let the car go. And then I only have to travel for half a mile to a car rental place, which I can walk to. And that I pick up a car for a day, drive out of London, and I go back and live it. All the cars are new; they're only 6 months old. It's got a lot less hassle than owning a car.
I agree. I'm in the same boat. I'll rent a car to go to the cottage up north, and otherwise, I mean, I barely leave my house nowadays. So there's definitely no need for a car. But yeah, it's in Toronto downtown. There's TTC and like transit everywhere, so we really don't need to own vehicles.
Likewise in London,
Hello.
there's a tube. Go everywhere on the tube.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah.
Are you in which room are you? Room one or room two?
Room two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are still you are in feature forward?
Yeah, we're in future forward, we're in two.
I'm not able to go into, I have the same problem than this morning. It just gets, it doesn't load, so I can't get through. I'm trying again.
But in which case I would suggest, Mikey, you might want to run up the app on your PC and join us with that. Okay, so I will move on to the next. The third piece here.
It's good when the both of you are leading the tour, so there's always someone that's keeping
Yeah,
us,
we found that working it as a team, the two of us, works quite well because we get the little features like Mikey's having, in which case I can do it. I'm running on the Mac, Mikey's running the Oculus, and between the two of us, we kind of managed to cover most things.
Yeah, it works really good.
It looks
I'm
very well.
back. I am
Well
back.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Mikey.
Keith has been
Thank you.
doing a really good job telling us about the work.
It's great.
That's all. So let me wrap up with this, Mikey.
Hello.
Let
Okay.
me just
So,
wrap up with the last piece here, which is called Horizon Q. And it's about the thrill of flying in your own private plane. And that it's an emotional feeling that you're getting this little plane and flying, and you really feel the world around you. It's another piece of technology. So spaced around that, spaced around property I've done in aircraft. It's about expressing the experience. Any questions about that?
Is there some allusion to the Mile High Club in there?
Some illusion.
Because I
illusion of
see
what?
the figure as the very nice embrace going on there.
Oh yeah, because the idea here is that you are in your private jet with your with the person you love. So
Yeah.
the idea is that you take a flight at night and you are above the stars and surrounded by the planet. So you are in your own world and at the same time internal world as well as in the universe. So the embrace is again, it's all about love. It's all about how we can create thrilling experiences. And again, the plane could be real or could be metaphorical. So how we can create these experiences that feel so real and so unique. Okay, so we move to the next. Any questions about this one, or we move to the next one? I'm very conscious about the time until we have a watch to look at.
Alright, let's keep moving. Beautiful. I love the colors in this one.
The colors are so vibrant, Brendan. You have really managed to do that really nicely.
Oh, that's all.
Keith, where are you?
I can't take credit
Yeah.
for that.
No, but it's all the effort. It's a team effort. Yeah. Keith, where are you? I cannot see
Yeah,
you.
I'm here. I'm
Yeah,
here.
there.
I'm, fiddling with things.
You want to come?
Yeah. Yeah.
You
So
want to introduce?
there's sort of two pieces here, and the third one is along the wall is mighty, in a minute. And this is from a
Close and personal. From close and personal. Close and personal.
This is from the Close and Personal series. On that, which is one of the things I like to do is, in the work I do is about expressing emotions and everything else. And I like bringing what I describe as visual texture. So in the blue one, we have a lot of water feeling of water, and then the abstraction of the orange and the yellow dots, and that it's quite inspired by some of the Bauhaus like Ditsky and Holy Nagui, which I'm big fans of. So I like this geometric abstraction, and I like to kind of bring photography elements and texturing back and an impression of where the geometric abstraction is going.
Can I mention something about this work, which I think is important? We see two circles here. The yellow circle is about hope. So the hope of a new relationship, then this relationship is going to work and is going to stand time. And the red circle here is about opening the heart. So it's a contrast between the cool blue of emotions and the warm coral red and the yellow. So the red represents how the heart is opening up and is warming up to this relationship and trusting this person and growing together.
I'd like just to let you know, Meja, that
Yep.
there's an alarm went off for the 15 minutes.
So we have 15
reminder.
minutes left.
We have
15 minutes, okay? Yeah.
left.
Yeah, okay. So we have time to finish this room, I think.
And by all means,
So-
you can continue on. It's just there's other events.
Yeah,
downstairs.
no, that's good. It says we need to put clocks on the wall or somewhere because you lose the sense of time in this space.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Keith, would you like to talk about this piece here?
The second piece here, Walking into Love. Again, it's black background, the texture of it, on that, the woman's figure, on that, digitally drawn, the yellow and the orange shapes, on that. About the feeling of emotions, walking into love, that sort of thing.
This one also, what it represents is that there are two parts. So the white line in the middle represents how we have two sides of our personality, the inner and the outer. The inner is the one that we like to keep for ourselves, and the outer, the one that people see. So the yellow is the outer, so it's the outgoing personality, and the red is the danger. This is the part of me that maybe I am not so comfortable showing right now. The point is that to come to a relationship to a point that you are comfortable to show and to be yourself 100% without worrying. So the white line in the middle represents the divide between these two walls, the inner and the outer, the outside wall, the inner wall. which I think that if you have made this, I think is beautiful. It's a beautiful piece of work. And the last one, yeah, Brendan, I'm sure you have a question.
No, I'm just getting a closer look.
I mean, the texture is amazing, so please have a look because it is beautiful. Have a look at that. And when you are ready, we gather to the last one on this room. So, are you here around? Yes. So the last bit, are you there? Yes. Keith? The last one is called Sultan Minos Goes to the Moon. And this is a fun thing that we have between Keith and myself. It's like sometimes you are with people or in situations where you feel either these people are in another planet or we are in another planet. But somehow it doesn't feel that you are in the same one, either how the conversation is going or the level of consciousness or what that you feel that is so far apart, the way that you think, that you feel a bit galactic sometimes. So this is Sutaminos flying the UFO around the Apollo 11 around Mars and the Moon. And this is the summer holidays because basically we are not able to travel so much. So they need to take the UFO to be able to travel. So it's also a representation of how we can travel with our mind. I always say that to all my friends. He says, don't feel stuck. He said, you can use your mind to travel. I mean, you can feel free or you can feel trapped. It's completely up to you. So if you would like to come close, it's a lot of detail in these pieces as well. It's all mixed media.
Oh, yeah.
It's a mixture of pencil, wax crayons, marker, foil, nylon threads, card. And again, it's representing the craters and the texture that we see in the moon. Well, I mean, the things that we had seen through the photographies. Obviously, I have never been there yet. But I imagine that at one point, traveling to the moon is going to be very easy. But I also like the idea that connecting with people from different cultures is a way to travel to the moon, because if you are open to other cultures, to the way they live, the way they think, their food, it's like traveling to another place. So it is really exciting. So it's a real trip or a metaphorical trip. It doesn't really matter. Use your mind and you feel that you are there.
Beautiful. I love the threads are really nice. They're really interesting.
I didn't mention about my background. My background my first life was in fashion, in high fashion. So it's a lot of reminder to the fashion world in my work, like threads, leather, stitching, details like that. And it's all unconscious. It's not that I plan to use them, but my unconscious says, oh, just put that. And I always find that inspiring. Actually, I didn't mention that, but in the Safe Hour Summers and for our future, the inspiration point for this work was actually a fabric, a textile sample that I have that is a mountain. So I saw this beautiful fabric, which is a mountain in black and white. And I also reading about the Arctic melting. So my unconscious pile up all this information, and that is the word that came up as a result of this piece of fabric and reading the article. But in this case, the thread is come back from my previous life in fashion. And I think that texture probably comes as well from this world where it's a lot of attention to detail. I am incredibly fussy with my work. I keep going and going. Sometimes I can put 10, 15 layers of painting. Sometimes it's something I don't like it. Until I feel it's finished, it's not finished. And sometimes kids say, oh, I'm going to photograph your work. And they say, no, it's not finished. But it looks finished to me. He said, but not to me. And here he goes, he doesn't listen, he photographs it. And then the days after I change something and I say, now it's finished. Now you can photograph. He said, well, I have photographed it already. I told you it was not finished. So that is what happens. That's life. So Is any question about this work, or otherwise you have a choice? Either you go to whatever is next in the program, which I'm not very sure. I think it's Brendan, probably you know by heart what is next.
I don't know by heart, but I'll pull
You
up
know by heart.
the production schedule
It's
just
Ali
one
J.
second.
And next
Ali
up
J.
is Ali J.
Yeah.
Okay, you're right. So, which is next to us, I think it's very close as well. It's in the hall. So I leave it up to you to go to Ali exhibition or to go to the
We'll
next
make you
room.
director of
I really
scheduling.
want you to feel free to do what.
I only know
what
because
you
I
want
just
to do.
happened to ask the guy about me.
So there's 8 minutes until the Ali J panel discussion begins.
Okay, so then we
So-
can go to the first room to see if we can make this a quick scan on the first room. Are you happy with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
On the
Yeah,
way
that
up, so
sounds
let's
good.
do that.
Brendan, tell us
Okay, well, I'm trying. Let's see. Probably you are quicker than me. Okay, let's go to room 1. Which door? I am in the right door, no, Keith? Which door? I need to go through the door next to the statement. No, the door next.
Yes.
The door. It needs to be the door next to the statement.
No, the other.
Oh, no.
The other. 19?
The other?
Yeah, it's the other.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the other. Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
you
So,
came through that
thank
door.
you.
If you want to go to the first room, you go back through that door.
We all need to go through the door back by the aisle.
So this is the door, right? So here I go. Okay. Where I am? I am in room 1. I thought I might got
To
stuck.
the main hallway.
Yeah, I thought I am in room 1.
Yeah, same. Room
Oh yeah, okay, good. Because I thought I thought I get and I was lost again. Okay, fine. Okay, so yes, the people that you are here, pick up one word that you are interested in, and we'll talk about this one. Pick up one. Which one you want to know about?
Too hard.
Well, then close your eyes and point. Close your eyes and point. Which one? Okay, so let's go to the coffee, which is this one here. So let's do that. Yeah. Okay. So why we don't introduce each other just briefly? Why you don't introduce yourself briefly? What do you think?
Yeah, that's it's really nice when people get a chance to kind of chat.
Okay, so Miriam, don't disappear. You start. Miriam, talk about.
I'm
Just
here.
introduce yourself. Yeah. Introduce yourself.
My name's Miriam. Hi. I am a huge art game fan. I love coming to explore the galleries here. And I'm also a curator. I work especially with digital artists. And I have a gallery here at Artgate called Skyfine.
Okay, so we'll have a look at this one. Yeah.
Miriam
You are next
was,
door. You are next door to us, right? You're next door.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we
Yeah.
will pop in. We will pop in there.
Amazing.
Miriam curated the first pavilion of Biennale in Artgate VR. There's this it was called the Wrong Biennale, and Miriam opened up a pavilion in Artgate for it, and it was a really incredible collection that she brought in here. So I've always been very, very impressed with the work that she brings together and the artists and dialogues. She's definitely a visionary with respect to what can be done in these spaces.
Fantastic.
Brendan, so nice. That was almost a year and a half ago. That was actually when it started.
Yeah.
It's amazing that was in Artgate. You know, it's so much that's happened since then.
That's fabulous.
My name's Brendan, for anybody that doesn't know me. I'm the co-founder of Artgate. So I'm behind the scenes helping make this world come to life. And before Artgate started, a lot of people knew me as a contemporary artist, and I got quite a lot of international attention for making large-scale bronze, marble, and aluminum sculptures. So I'm an artist and entrepreneur.
So Brendan, is your work digital or is physical? Because I was confused about that. Your sculptures.
Yeah, so it's a combination. Most of the works are physically sculpted. So there's some marble sculptures, some bronze sculptures, some big cast aluminum works. So you can, if you you can see them in the physical world. But for those people that can't access them physically, if they don't have the means to be able to fly out and look at one of them, then they can look at it in VR. So I just thought
Absolutely.
that it would make for a more accessible art world if people could see artwork through a computer or VR headset.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Keith, you have introduced yourself. Or let's go with not Dinesh, Tom. Tom, would you like
Hi,
to
my name is
introduce
Tom. Yes, my name is Tom. I'm on mute.
No, we can hear you.
No, we can hear you. We can hear you nicely.
Oh, okay, then the mute button doesn't actually work.
No, the mute button. It was an ambition we didn't get solved before the fair opened.
Okay, no, we can hear you nicely.
Okay, so I will have to remember that the menu mute is not really a mute. My name is Tom Brown. I work at the intersection of people, art, and technology, usually on the administrative side of arts organizations like theaters and museums. I'm also a digital image maker. My tag up above my head has this 41XRT thing in it. If you go to www.41xrt.com/art, you'll see some of my digital work.
Okay, will do. And Keith, would you like to say the last word? Keith, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
No?
Well,
Are you
I
here?
think
Okay.
it'd be fabulous to have you around the gallery. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please, any questions, please do ask.
It feels very intimate to be able to see the exhibition with a group like that. And it's a privilege really to be able to get to know each other, to connect, and to share what each one of us do with passion, really. So,
thank you so much for spending the time to put it in here and to talk about it. It's a real treat to get to listen to it. So well done, both of you. Thank you so much.
how do you do that? How do you do this? How do you do this, Tom?
If you put your controllers down, then you can clap near your head, and then we'll pick up.
Okay. So can you hear me
or
now?
click the
because I was clicking my controllers together. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, I remember on the opening night, and I was thinking, how is people clapping? I cannot do it. Yeah. Okay, that's good.
Hello and welcome to Art Gate Cleveland. If you are here for the third panel discussion, please proceed to the alley J.
Yeah, I think it's a safe spot over by the road if you want to do that, we can.
I'm just confused. Is it gate number 2?
Yeah, room
Yes,
2.
but you know what? Because we're seen all together. We're seeing each other all together, no matter what. But yeah, it's room number 2.
So directly it enters here only. Like I thought that there is another. Wow. I mean, I just entered and I just reached here. This is okay.
Oh, really? So you pass room number 1 somehow?
No, I mean I directly jumped in here only.
Oh, so okay, so 1, 2, and like all of the ones that are under Ali J Fine Art, we all see each other still. They're only separate if you're in different users' galleries.
Oh,
Does that make sense?
Okay.
So what do you see? What do you see on the wall over here?
It says Ali J Fine Art Presents.
And then what?
And then I see you.
No, does it say healing through art?
No, it says the art of Olympio.
So you want to
Oh,
go
so then
through
you're
the
no
door
number
again
one.
and you'll be in the second room with us.
Oh my God! Oh wow! That's
Chanel?
We'll go back there afterwards.
I just, yeah. So I just wanted to know so that I can actually guide people because
Yeah.
there were few confusions happening. So I thought that I should clarify myself first. Then only I will explain people. So now I understood the situation. So basically they need to enter it again.
Okay, is this where we are having the panel discussion?
Yes.
Oh, Dinesh, Dinesh, I guess where are you?
Yeah.
I guess even you're in the room number 1 only.
Is this a wrong room again?
Hey, Brendan.
You wanted to
Hold
say healing through art on the wall over here.
Go by the room?
If it doesn't say that, come to the next room.
Okay, well, let's go by the room.
Is everybody in room 2?
Chanel?
Yes.
Okay.
Chanel?
Well, we're moving
I'll go.
people over too.
Chanel?
We're gonna head over by over here by the
Chanel?
station, this whole road.
Yeah, Dinesh.
Is this the right room?
Dinesh, actually, thing is that in same room only there is room 2 also.
Okay, right now I'm in Ali Ajay Fine Arts Present Healing Through Art.
Yeah. What do you see? It should say healing through art.
Yeah, I'm in that room.
Yeah.
Sunil,
Hi, Shiv.
do you hear somebody speaking in French? That's all I hear. Is that a video playing maybe?
That's the dance. It's so funny. My
I
girls
mean,
were just
I don't see any video here. Actually, Shiv, if you
Yeah.
can just go towards where that
It's
all the
fun.
information is written.
Brandon?
Can
Is
you
this
read
the right room for the live streaming?
Yeah, I can read that.
Yeah, room 2.
Yeah, because I.
AGI Fine Art.
Okay, healing through something, right?
I think you should. It's so fun.
It's a great idea. Well, eventually I want to have where you can record these presentations and stuff, and then someone can just replay the whole thing over and over again.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, there's
So
a
then
lot
you
that
have,
can be
like,
done.
Everybody giving their tours, and they don't even actually have to be there.
Oh, ooh, that would be super futuristic. I like that. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so you like create
I
a
have the
ghost that
modules
then
built
leads you
out.
around.
They need a lot of debugging and integration, but it's been started.
That's cool. I'm sure it's very complicated when it comes to the actual implementation of it, but it's a really great idea.
Yeah, the biggest problem is just storing all that data because like you need every motion data, you need like all the audio, and there's a lot of moving parts into like somebody giving a presentation, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. But
yeah,
it's a really
I'll
great
figure it out
idea.
eventually. Yeah, I think it'd be cool.
This is awesome.
Yeah, it would be. Hi, David.
How are you?
Good. I really appreciated what you were saying yesterday in the first panel discussion. Those are really great and important topics.
Yeah.
Nice to see you. Welcome.
Well, thanks for that. I think it's important that we remember where we are and not make the same mistakes in virtual reality that we make in the real
Happy
world.
birthday to you, Sissy.
No, it's true.
Thank you.
And I think that you had some really great speakers on the panel that had some really great and
I like the
passionate
paintings.
things to
They look good
say.
in the frames.
It was a refreshing discussion
2, right?
about some very real things that VR could help with.
Fake it to make
Because
it.
I doubt.
Yeah, it was really interesting because El Michel was really about,
Mhm.
taking back the surveillance and empowerment through the, using the glasses to basically put their story forward. And then Will, on the other hand, is thinking about taking back the past and creating a new future, which I thought was an important part of his work. And both of those things, I think, are elements of XR that
Will you be
make things
recording or
possible that
should
we
do it
haven't
like
thought about before.
And I think that there will be continual things to think about
Dinesh over
as
here is
we
our
are continue
our
to
live
improve
stream
and
recorder guy.
invite
Okay, and
and
that stuff
improve
is
the
gonna be saved
accessibility
somewhere,
of it
right?
all. It is
Well,
really
after
interesting.
the
I think
live
we're
stream,
also
it
excited
saves
by
on
the fact
Facebook page.
VR even exists. That
Okay,
some
so
of
then
us
it's like
forget
a
to
regular
think about
little video with
how
some
it could be
discussion.
then
Okay,
accessible,
that's good.
which is
Right.
just as important in a
Dinesh,
way.
you're recording,
Okay.
correct?
'Cause usually
So
it's
it's a great-
I'm
more
not
than you can
recording, but
conversation.
I'm live right now. But it'll be
Oh,
like
you're
in
live, yeah.
Facebook,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, cool.
Perfect.
So, we can start any minute if you guys are all here, whoever wanted to come in. And, you know, if somebody's late, it's all good. It's going to be a free flowing conversation here.
Yeah.
So, it's all good pretty much. And,
When you're ready, I'll make the announcement.
okay, well, are we ready?
The info bot.
Hands up.
We are ready.
All right, info bots. It's always quieter than I think. But there you go.
It's loud in the house, but good. I said, visitor was here.
Was the echo
Welcome,
on
guys.
purpose?
Yes.
Huh? Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite impressive.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Chase here is the.
Like Chase, I'm Darcy's husband. She would like to talk to you later. After the talk, so do you have some time?
Of course.
Oh my gosh, hey, we can do virtual
After the panel.
handshakes.
Yeah.
Well,
After the panel, that would be
Are
great.
you teleporting? People are
that was,
teleporting.
yeah, I did. Oh, it's
Yeah.
been so long.
Hi, Tiffany.
That felt so
I'm Jai.
good.
Nice
Hello.
to meet you.
Hi,
Hi,
Jai.
Hi,
everybody.
Tiffany. Nice to meet you.
Hi,
guys.
Allie.
Nice to meet you,
Nice-
Sue.
Welcome.
Hi.
Irina,
Great to have
David.
you all.
Dinesh, I met you. Dinesh, tapalo kasto cha.
मला चिकसा तपाईँलाई
Tikcha, Ramro cha. Dinesh is from Nepal, and my parents got married in Nepal. I got to spend a lot of time over there, so I can speak a little bit in Nepali. So yeah, ekdam Ramro cha.
Just kidding. That's awesome. That's so cool. Yeah, it's great to see so many of you guys here. Yeah, welcome. And we're excited. We've had quite a few really nice conversations with Jai and Chase in the past, and so we kind of decided that this is a natural natural result of that to bring it here in Artgate, because it's becoming a very cool interactive platform for us to meet and ponder some ideas and share thoughts. So as you all know, Jai Mitchell, fine artist, and this art around you is created by him. We've had a show here already before, back in November. If any of you had a chance to see, and we're going to have many more coming. Chase Chandler, wonderful composer and musician, and also, you know, have to owe to Artgate meeting him. So that's kind of a pretty cool creative platform that causes us to come up with all kinds of ideas, and this is one, to have this talk. I wanted to start with kind of prompting this question from Jai. He internationally showed before Artgate, and but this is the first VR experience, and I wanted to ask him, what is it like for you, Jai? How was it for you after you showed internationally? He started showing in Berlin, and when he started showing here in Artgate, how was that experience for you? What was the first impression?
Yeah, no, I think it's incredible. So I had my first solo show in Berlin last year, and I got to go over. It was before COVID, and what was really cool was, you know, I just got to go to the gallery every single day. I remember kind of, you know, growing up going to galleries, and you know, a lot of times the artists wouldn't be there, so it always kind of bummed me out. So I made sure I was there every single day and just got to hang out and talk to people. And then another gallery asked me to do a show in September,
But by that time, they had the travel restrictions, so I didn't get to go over for that one. That really bummed me out. But now here we are in VR, and there's people from all over the world. So this is what it's all about, and I love hearing what people think of my art or talking about it. So I'll be around after this, and then I think we're showing a little bit more from 4 to 5. But I'll probably be here all day. So. And it's a special occasion. My sister passed away last year. Sorry. And today it's her birthday, so it's pretty cool.
Oh,
So
another April 17th.
Yeah, and there's a piece over there on that wall that we'll see later that I did of her that when she was a ballerina. So she pops up all the time. There was a painting I did of an elephant. The elephant was always her favorite animal growing up, and it was in the second Berlin show. And then one of the newspapers in Berlin came to the show, and they decided to choose that one for it. So she seems to always pop up. So I will pass it off to you guys.
It's a good commemoration to her today, and she's looking down at us, I think. And well, what's really cool is that now that we can bring people from all over the world, Jai. It's like you had your international showing, now we're here, and this is an international group, so it's kind of continuing the trend. Do you feel like showing in VR is pushing you, or it's slowing you down? How do you feel?
It's definitely pushing me. I mean, I'm just amazed that how cool an experience it is, and just the quality of the images and being able to walk right up to them. I think you can really get the experience. And then I mean, it's amazing that people bought a couple paintings having never seen them physically. So it's I think it's the future, and I'm thrilled, and thank you, Artgate. This is incredible.
Hey, congratulations, Artgate.
Oh, real clap sounds.
Real clap sounds.
And we're going to be talking about this painting behind me here, the road. So if anybody wants to, while we're talking, walk up to it and check it out, go for it. But then, pass it on.
Yeah. Well, like I mentioned in the beginning, we three of us, started meeting here in Artgate, and then met Chase here. Chase met Jai here. I wanted to turn to Chase and kind of ask him about his first experience. How did you meet Jai, and how was your first interaction? If you could share, like, what was your first conversation like?
Sure. So I'm a contemporary composer. Recently had a new interest in understanding another side of contemporary thinking, which is visual. I kind of happened upon Artgate because a team member, Candice, mentioned over Instagram, you should check out this wonderful thing called Artgate. So I showed up because, hey, it's quarantine, might as well try some new things, because that's exciting. And I came across one of the artist talks with Jai, and I found it so incredibly crazy to think I could just walk up and start talking to this artist who was just talking about his visual art and his process. And we spoke during and after a little bit, and then continued the conversation. And lo and behold, a real life relationship kind of flourished from something that most people may not understand the value of at first glance. But this virtual space created a relationship that now spans outside of VR and within it and all around. So Jai was someone who brought up art as a form of therapy. And that really got me thinking about how it could be therapy for all of us if we're open to it. And music is and has been a form of therapy without me realizing, until quarantine makes us all look at ourselves and really start thinking about what makes us happy. And Jai was very instrumental in making me look at music as my own form of therapy. And it's all from VR. I just happened to walk in and talk.
Yeah, that's how it goes. It's very faithful.
Yeah.
Chase, do you feel like your process of creation got affected by this platform? And if so, how would you describe, if you could share, like what changed in the way you create and the way you write music?
I must say there's so many passionate people with Artgate and those who come in, and hearing visual creators talk about their passion, it really makes me consider trying a different process. If a process works for someone else, it's worth trying. And that it was really VR that had me in Artgate that had me consider, if artists are listening to music and creating, I might as well try looking at a painting or a visual inspiration to then compose. And that has been a wonderful experiment and journey of my own because of people I get to talk to outside of just looking at the painting. Looking at the painting is wonderful, but seeing the person involved, it makes you really consider the value of that person. And I don't know if I would have been composing with paintings if it wasn't for Artgate and Jai, Sylvain Colombe, and Ali J.
Awesome. Yeah. Jai, tell us about your impression, because you guys had that. I remember after the opening of our show in November, if I'm not mistaken, that's when you guys met, right, Chase? And then you guys had an extensive conversation after. Would you share your take on that, Jai?
Yeah, no, I mean it was awesome. We just started talking, and I told Chase about this book called The Reckoning by this author Jeffrey Pierce, and I did all the interior artwork for it. And so Chase went and checked it out, and he looked through the paintings, and then he said, "Hey, man, I'd love to compose a piece of music based on one of your paintings." So I said, "All right, take a look. Tell me which one moves you." And he decided on this one here called The Road. And so, yeah, tell me a little bit, Chase, about what you're doing with it and what your plans are with it.
Well, with quarantine, I think it's brought us all to think about how we might be able to interact with people. So I was collaborating with the cellist already, brought up this as a possible collaborative project. And the cellist and I, James Alexander, who's getting his doctorate in cello performance in Kansas University, he and I went through a bunch of options, and we both decided on Road as a wonderful aesthetic and mood to base this collaborative project between myself, the performer, and the painter, and it's kind of been blossoming from there.
Chase, what's your instrument?
My first was trumpet. My first was piano, and then trumpet, and I did a vocal performance degree, and then my master's was in composition.
Are you classical preferred style or genre-wise?
I prefer to be in what's now known as the post-style age, where there's no genre to really consider. It's just music from music, because it's all based around itself. You can't get away from the fact that there are no lines. So I kind of go with everything. Pop, jazz, classical, it's all the same to me because it's all interesting. Thank you for the question, though.
Yeah, we had this conversation a few weeks back, and we kind of raised the subject of how you guys create, right? We talked about how you write, Chase, and I asked a question to Jai how he paints, because for me, working with artists, I always get fascinated by to understand how they know when the piece is done. And I don't know if it's very similar to music, because I don't know, I would just only imagine something is born in your soul, so to speak, and you just put it into notes, and then it kind of all comes out, and then it's done. I don't know if it's a feeling, it's just intuitive feeling, or something like that. I would like to hear about that from you guys, because I know that you guys probably also interested to hear what the process is like in creating a piece and being like knowing when it's done. And I would like to Jai also to chime in on that one.
Sure. So yeah, go ahead, Jace.
In preparation for this, Jai and I had really similar ideas.
Yeah. So for me, this whole idea of art therapy, that's how I started all this painting. I used to draw and paint a little bit as a kid, but didn't do anything until 2014. I was in a psychiatric hospital. Sadly, I had a really serious suicide attempt. And when I was in there, one day they said, "Hey, art therapy." So the doctors are pumping me up on lithium, and my hands were just shaking like crazy. It's just something that lithium does. So I end up in this art therapy class and trying to draw little straight lines, and it just wouldn't work. And luckily, the therapist, said, "All right, come over here." Gave me a piece of charcoal, bigger piece of paper, stood me up, gave me some room, and so that just kind of gave birth to this style that I do. So when I'm painting, it's almost kind of like this frenetic, continuous, almost a panic. And you're asking, how do I know when to quit? One thing about people, who are bipolar, you have a tendency to be really impulsive, and sometimes, you destroy your own world. So I have a lot of paintings where I've had it, kind of where I wanted, and then, for whatever reason, I just kept going and just destroyed it. So for me, a lot of times it's just knowing when to step away, and especially when I'm working with stuff like charcoal, which a lot of this is. My hands are much better now. Lithium, as your body gets used to it, it adjusts. But when I was working on that, they just adjusted the lithium again. So, I'd have a tendency to sometimes, just accidentally brush my hand over something and just ruin something. So, because I'm always kind of just looking for these happy accidents to happen. So for me, a lot of times it's just being afraid of going on and, just knowing when to quit. But in this particular piece of art here in the road, I was working with the author. And so we would have this process. He's actually an actor, and I have a film background. I went to film school. And I remember when I was shooting short films, you would have a script, and then you make your own costumes, and you get your props. You just create this world, and then you get your actors in there, and your cinematographer, everybody, and then you just hope that something happens. I remember I shot this one film. We shoot on 16 millimeter, so you have no idea what it's going to look like. And then when I finally got it back from the lab, it just blew me away what the cinematographer did. So, I'm always trying to have somebody else see what I'm doing and make it better. So in the case of this book, I was trying to, take what the author was looking for and create something for him. So we did kind of a similar thing. He would just send me tons and tons of like archive photos. The book is it's a supernatural fiction book that takes place right after World War I. So we would just get a whole kind of library of old World War I photos, just reference stuff. Some of it would be, just the weapons that they were using. A lot of times it would just be a face. So when I'm working on a piece, a lot of times, almost every time, I have no idea where it's going to end up. I just kind of, start printing things and putting them all over the room in front of me, and then just kind of get in this trance and then just start to go for it and see what comes up. So in the case of the road, I had no idea that it was going to end up looking like that, and neither did the author. And I'd read the book a bunch of times, but I really didn't want to be literal about what the chapter was about. I wanted it to be like a standalone piece and just almost convey an emotion. And that emotion, came from my experience. And it just happened to be that matched up with, what he was looking for. So in this particular piece called The Road, you see these figures here. You don't know if they're humans or they're ghosts, and they're going down this path. And it's either going to lead them to heaven, to hell, or to some type of, new life, or, it's going to be something where they're going to confront something. And in my life, as in everybody's life, we're always trying to just confront our demons. So
Yeah.
But yeah, and then when Chase got inspired by it and said, I want to compose music. I mean, it blows me away. My first show in Berlin, there's this famous poet, Nepomuk Ullman, and he came to the show and he said, "Hey, I'm gonna write some poems about two of your paintings." So, I think there's just this universal connection. I mean, I have all these different mental health conditions. I'm a survivor of child abuse, so I suffer trauma. But everybody suffers trauma. Everybody has some sort of mental health issues. We're all bipolar in some way. So I don't know. I think there's some sort of universal experience. So my favorite thing is when somebody looks at a painting and they say, "Wow, yeah, that's how I feel." And when I'm creating it, I have no idea that that's what's going to happen. I'm creating it for myself, but so, and somehow now that's kind of passed off to where Chase is going to create something. So.
That's the best, right? That's what music and art does. I mean, that's just that way of communicating that defies geography or languages, and that's where we can all connect no matter where we are in the world. And I mean, the favorite experience is when people from different countries stand by the painting and they feel similar emotion. And that's just what the art is for, right? That's what music is for. It makes us, feel things coming up, hearing some notes and heal perhaps with that. So it's very inspiring just to hear that. Thank you for sharing, Jai.
Yeah.
Chase, do you have something to chime in about the process?
Well, you had mentioned something about intuition, and I think intuition is a very simple thing, but we grow up and we have things to deal with that maybe train us to overcomplicate what intuition is. And hearing artists talk about the flow state, subconscious, intuition, it has me considering how I might do the same without realizing. And I think intuition is so easily judged. And if we aren't aware of the judgment of our intuition, I think that is when we can get into trouble with overcomplicating, trying too far with a piece of work. But if our intuition is true and we don't question it, I think it will surprise us when a piece is finished or it needs more work. Because at that point, there's no need for judgment if the intuition is true. And that is the hardest process, I think, and one that
letting go.
I find is just a continual journey throughout the rest of our life is to see, am I actually listening?
Yeah,
to
that
my
is
own
true.
intuition.
I agree. It seems like we learn to judge. It's like from the moment we're born, we collect this experience from life, right? Very logical, very practical experience that takes us further away from that intuitive self that knows by default, kind of. And then we learn to doubt it. So then once you understand that, the whole process of real learning to just be and not judge, that's the journey probably, because that's the most true, right? This probably contains that information of generations that we will never get in our lifetimes. But so we kind of have to tune into that self, that intuition, that universal information, so to speak, spiritually, if you guys can relate to that. But it's probably where we can draw if we stop judging and if we let go and just allow the creative process to guide us, right? And music and art is that, like you said, flow states probably allows, or when you meditate, right, you can get to the state of that just being. And that's where therapy happens, right? The healing process probably happens and it's therapeutic for whatever we're healing in that time.
Absolutely.
And it's interesting, Jai was telling about Jeff Pierce, the writer of the book that basically connected us. And I believe there's a serendipitous reasons for everybody coming together and learn and grow together through this kind of experiences and creative projects that we that are basically born naturally somewhat.
Yeah, no, it's wild. I mean, Jeff, the author, we used to play in a ska band in Washington, D.C. way back in the 90s together. So, I've got that kind of music background in me. So And I mean, the way that Chase kind of just, approached me and started talking to me. And I mean, this is kind of how these things happen. And I think as artists, sometimes you just kind of have to make these jumps, and I mean, all these things that kind of seem like coincidences, I don't know, sometimes they just happen. I mean, yeah, it's random, but I don't know, it's pretty special that, here we are today, and this would have been my sister's birthday. So it's incredible. But yeah, and Ali was working on a video game with Jeff, and then Jeff said, "Hey, check out this art in this book that my friend did." And then I just started talking to Ali and said, "Hey, I'd love to work with somebody." And that might come a bit from my film background too, where you work with producers, you work with costume, you learn that other people can just make what you're doing better. So and especially I'm an artist. I'm unorganized as hell. If you could see, through these glasses right now, what my little studio looks like. But so, in getting to collaborate with Ali, I mean, she's brought me here and stuff, and then getting to meet Chase and everybody arcade. I mean, it's cool, and I love how it just keeps building, and it becomes a bigger thing. One of the paintings we have here of the ballerina over there, that's going to be part of a fundraiser for an organization in Richmond that does stuff with child abuse. So these things, it just kind of keep growing, and I really look forward to where it's going to go next. And I really look forward to Chase composing a new piece of music, and then having, instead of him composing off a painting, he's going to compose something, and then I'm going to paint. From what I hear, so
we had this conversation, which really makes me super excited, and that's what we're doing here in the world. I think when we are in arts and any kind of creative field, you want to make people feel, you want to make people figure something out for themselves through the medium that you put out in the world. And we had a conversation, and Chase ended up sending Ajay this piece of music. Because we were like, okay, well, you wrote a piece of music inspired by Jai's painting. So what happens if we do it the other way? And I mean, all kinds of things happen, right? Yeah, you had all kinds of things come up, and you painted, and it's just like a never-ending process of kind of drawing of each other. And
yeah, it was pretty wild. I mean, when Chase sent me this piece, this was just a fun experiment. He sent me this piece of music. He didn't tell me who wrote it or what it was about. I thought he had composed it. So, I just put it on my headphones, put it on repeat, and I just spent the next couple hours just painting, just going through things that were going through my head. And then, like 3 a.m, I sent it to them and said, "Hey, here's what I came up with." I was really kind of going over, in my head, just this feeling of being bipolar, how it's just this storm is always coming, and talking about how my doctors had been telling me, they gave me all this new medication. They're like, "Hey, guess what? Your medicine doesn't really work when you're drinking." So they're like, "How about you quit drinking for a while and let's see if these meds work." So that kind of theme was also coming to me, was like, okay, all right. You're drinking, it helps you to control your anxiety and deal with things, but man, it's really messing a lot of your things up in your life and stuff. So that was what kind of was going through my head. Sent him the picture, and then the next day, Chase kind of sends me this description, from what, it wasn't his piece of music. Tell me, I mean, who was the composer? And
it was a piece called "Cheating, Lying, Stealing" by David Lang. He's a composition professor at Yale University right now.
Yeah, and the description basically said something like, the composer was saying, "I'm tired of people, thinking they're so great and trying to compose this great piece of music about, oh, I'm going to change the world and woe is me. And, this is so deep. I'd love for somebody to just compose something about how shitty they are." And then so all of a sudden I'm like, oh shit, that's what I just did. So it was pretty wild.
Yeah,
we all want to change the world.
Be controlled, right? It just comes in different forms and then inspired by different things. I was going to ask you, Okay, go ahead. Do you have a thought?
No, I was just gonna say. I mean, sometimes you just need to create these worlds and then see what happens and stuff. So
Yeah, yeah. Just let it come out. And we spoke with you guys before about the meaning of academic training versus being self-taught. And Jazz is self-taught artist, right? You have film background. Clearly, there is a creativity background that was academic. But as an artist, you completely came out of trying out all these things and healing through it. What do you feel pushes you most in growing as an artist? With that, as you have self-taught and you kind of have this open, no rules kind of approach to art?
I mean, I'm just trying to be the greatest artist in the world of all time. You gotta get delusional like that.
That's so.
So when I sit down and I'm painting, I'm
You
like,
set the bar too low.
Yeah, no. Well, I was joking with my friend in Berlin. I was like, when I sit down on a painting, I'm like, okay, this is the one that's gonna beat the Mona Lisa. The Mona Lisa's going down.
Is this the complete, the complete opposite of the music piece that you were just said?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. You have to get a little delusional like that because if you don't believe in yourself and if you don't push yourself, then who is? And because I paint so much, I mean, I've done like 9 paintings in the night. I get in that mode. I'm like, okay, let's book the ticket to the Louvre, and then maybe an hour later, I'm like, okay, so that's not it, but let's keep going. When maybe the next one's it.
As long as it doesn't get you attached too much, it's good.
Yeah, and it's just good to have friends who sometimes you send them texts of paintings and they're like, okay, call your doctor, or sometimes they're saying okay, most of the time they just don't respond, and then every now and then you send something and you get just wow, like the ballerina one over there. We were talking about doing something for a charity. Wanted to do something with my sister, sent it to Allie, and her text just said, wow. So, that's what's fun to go for. But, I don't know, being self-taught, it just opens things up because I don't know, I don't want to say I don't know what I'm doing, but I don't know. I just don't have, I don't have any training. So I just get to be like this mad scientist and just experiment and just see what happens.
That's the way to go. Yeah, that's cool. Chase,
I'm
you
just,
are
yeah,
the
it's like
other
I'm a
way,
kid,
right?
so.
Yeah, you're the other way. You have the formal training, but you seem to be very open-minded and very flexible in your approaches. So how did that happen for you to kind of be outside of the lines, having a formal training? So like, how do you?
Right.
What's the most challenging for you when you're trying new approaches? Just curious.
Well, for me, I started writing at the piano at like age of 3. I just loved. Apparently, I don't remember. I just loved doing something that was sound related. I started figuring out like music theory on my own without realizing music theory was a thing, and then went to college and took a class, and they showed me everything that I was already figuring out, and it's like, wow, there's a name to that? Oh my gosh. And from there, then there comes expectations, standards, traditions, but you learn it all. And that's important for, following a tradition, but also the excitement was gone because there was expectations and traditions and things to compose for. And I lost sight of the excitement of it a little bit because there's a degree I need to finish. There is amazing musicians I need to write really well for so that they understand that I'm educated. And that kind of took the joy of just exploring. And I do find that artists have this joy of exploring that I find so refreshing. And for me, it's brought me back to the fact that a degree is good. It's not inherently good or bad. It is when it's the end all be all. The greatest people I've met, the greatest thinkers, are those who are continually learning. And the problem with having a degree is sometimes you can fall for the temptation that you have learned. But I don't think that's ever the case. We should always be learning. And that's been refreshing for artists without an education or those who don't even speak about their education, because that's not what they're here for. They're here to talk about art and learn from each other. And that's been nice.
Yeah.
Maybe
and
this is
it's
true for
yeah.
any education, right? Like, you know, we go
Sure.
to college, but we don't necessarily do what we learn there. We just learn to learn, right? If you
Yeah.
kind of learn the process itself, then you can apply to anything else in the future, but it doesn't defy you. It just opens up some, perhaps, you know, like opens up understanding of how the process works. And then you just go on and you do your own thing. But it's clearly does not limit you just because you train that way. And,
Yeah. And
Right.
and it's fun to just keep it going. Like, so you know, it's back in the hospital in January. You know, and when you're in there, you know, you just need things to help you escape and stuff. So, you know, I asked for just some paper from the printer and a pen, and so I just started doing a lot more, just kind of pen and ink drawings. And then, you know, got out, sent some of the pictures to Allie J, and she's like, what is this? This is completely new stuff. And so now we've got this whole series of pen and ink drawings that I've been doing for the past couple months that we're gonna, you know, have a show with eventually. But it's just fun to just keep going and try new things. I remember one of the pieces that I sold at the first show in Berlin. I had taken some chapstick, some lip balm. You know, this is back. My mom had cancer, and I remember being in a doctor's office, and they had this big bowl of this really nice lip balm and stuff. So I grabbed a bunch of them, and then was at home. And one of the materials I sometimes use is just sidewalk chalk, the kids' sidewalk chalk, because it kind of crumbles and stuff. So I was just experimenting with it. You know, I didn't have any oil paintings just because it's expensive, you know, and so I was like, oh, well, I think there's oil in chapstick, so let's kind of just start smearing it in there. Let's make your own, you know, oil. And just the weirdest thing, it just started blending in this really strange way. And you know, so I was at the Berlin show, told this woman about it, and she was like, oh, that's so she bought it. So that was nice. But it's I don't know. It's just mad scientist kid stuff being experimental.
Alchemy,
fun,
that's what it is, alchemy.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just don't know what you get. You just have to go with that intuition, right? And
Yeah, totally.
Great masters made their own paint.
Really?
True.
Yeah, you couldn't buy paint in a tube in their
Yeah.
16th century. You had to buy gems and minerals, various colors.
Yeah.
You can go back
And
to the cave drawings, right, guys?
Yeah, and I've found some strange things happen sometimes. Like you know, a lot of times I just will run out of materials and stuff. So you know, I'll go to the shed and okay, here's some house paint. And yeah, I've found that when you use just like house paint and you know, I hate cleaning brushes, so a lot of times I'll just grab a piece of paper towel to kind of use as a paintbrush. And I've found that sometimes when you do that with house paint and rub it into certain types of canvases, it changes the texture of it, and these kind of little things start to like pop up. And strangely, a lot of times, especially when you're mixing with chocolate, a lot of times, I don't know, maybe I was just sniffing a lot of paint, but it looked like little demons were coming out of it and stuff. But so yeah, I guess I should have opened the windows. But
just a quick note to everyone: there's about 15 minutes left for your
I was gonna say
hour time slot on the panel.
We like to talk, Brendan. You can tell. Yeah, if you
No,
guys
it's
have
great.
questions, please ask.
I always lose track of time in VR, so I didn't know if it was helpful for all of you to know. It's great. Keep it going.
Well,
Yeah,
I
and
just-
I mean, questions, guys, while we're kind of just pausing a little bit, because there's just such an endless conversation we find, and there's a lot to kind of share. But yeah, please jump in with questions. Don't hesitate. If there's something comes up. Yeah.
I have a two-part question. One, and it's for Jai. The first part is, what's your sister's name?
Rana, R-A-N-A. It's a Nepalese name. So
Okay.
Dinesh would be very familiar with that name.
Yeah.
Ranas were a royal family in Nepal. My full name is Jai Matthew Jung Bahadur. That's another Nepalese.
Okay, so the second question is, do you mind if we sang happy birthday to Rana, just honor her memory?
Yeah. Let's go by the painting, guys, over across and behind Brandon right there.
Yeah, is that okay with you, Jai? I don't want to.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
If it's
Let's just head over there and we can do it.
Alrina piece you made. Rana's memory.
Which
green
one?
Yeah, right in the frame.
All right. Well, let's. I'll lead it off then. So we're gonna sing "Happy Birthday" to Rana in her memory because today is her birthday and she passed a little while ago. So this is Jai's sister Rana. We're gonna sing "Happy Birthday" to. So here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Anna. Happy birthday to you. Thanks, Brent.
You can tell who's the actual singer is in the room here.
Clearly me.
Clearly, Brenda.
Wired.
I think that was the first group sing or group song that we've ever had. There's a little bit of a time delay.
Brandon, we need you guys. Justin needs to come up with a virtual cake. We're gonna gather here for people's birthdays, like every month, and do little birthdays, virtual parties. Yeah. So yeah. This what's your other question? Did you have another question?
Well, the first part was what's Jai's sister's name, and the second part is could we sing happy birthday to her?
Okay, good. Well, it's fun. It's fun to talk about creative processes. I don't know if you guys have any questions. Please feel free to jump in and ask. I know we're kind of whatever, have 10 minutes now left on this.
Did you had something to say about that, Chase?
I was just gonna
10 minutes
compare
left.
if anyone's interested in painting color versus composing color.
Yes.
Sure. I always find it interesting in comparing the mediums. Nowadays, when you compose color, it's about different timbres. But about 100 years ago, composing different colors would mean changing how many or what kind of pitches you would choose. So nowadays, when you write, it's all about knowing exactly how the instrument works so that you can compose in a way that uses the instrument in an untraditional way. So when composing with different and cool and experimental colors, you have to keep the instrumentalist in mind and hope that they are up for trying new things. Because if they're not, you won't get that timbre you're searching for. And there's also that collaborative aspect with whether or not you are talking to the instrumentalist. So it's a fun way to go about having a collaboration with the cellist and the road, because I get to talk specifically to the cellist and ask, what is a really cool different kind of color you can create with cello that you'd be up for playing? Instead of me trying to read a textbook and find a way that is an extended technique that might not be as used, and hope that the cellist is up for doing it. There's many techniques that can harm the cello if they're not trained. So we're very fortunate to have a cellist who's agreed to something like this, and it's very exciting for those specific color reasons and timbre.
Yeah, Jai, Chase, you were posting a lot of your artwork, and you're talking about color, but it seems like mostly you were doing more of a graphic kind of black, white lines, like ink kind of pictures. Is that something that you started with, and how did that affect your composing? I was wondering, your artwork, like, was it changing the way you composed or the way you maybe visualize music?
There's someone on Instagram I met who has a doctorate in the University of Washington, who was in composition, experimented with visuals, and we were talking, wondering why we feel more comfortable in black and white. And he's saying, I'm pretty sure it's because we started in sheet music, which is just black and white, which is lines and black and just the geometry of it in itself. So I feel a lot more comfortable with black and white. That being said, I've been experimenting myself with color, and each time it's always feels risky. So it's been helpful in learning and understanding a more visual aspect of structure, which is something that's unavoidable with music. But so it's a quick little experiment when it comes to just pen and paper, black and white. I can understand patterns, breaking rules, creating a sense of balance or chaos in a really quick sketch that makes me understand maybe there's a way to do that with pitch, timbre, and texture in composition.
Yeah, it's cool
fun.
with that idea of like chaos. There's one of my favorite things to listen to when I'm starting to paint is this album by Ornette Coleman, The Shape of Jazz to Come. And when you listen to it, I mean, it's one of the most beautiful songs ever. But it sounds like chaos, and it really kind of gets me in the mood, and kind of that idea of how a jazz musician has all these things, all these different notes, and then how are they going to choose what happens and what goes? There's chaos involved, but I guess there's intuition and rules also. So it's a really cool thing about how all these things come about. So
yeah,
fun.
Yeah, it's very true. I think the closest thing that I've come to understanding how an artist might feel is if they're in a style that could be quick, is improvising on an instrument. But for piano, that's always been my form of escape, is sitting down and improvising something. And that is letting go of the moment and allowing the subconscious and maybe the intuition. And that's been a fun comparison as well.
Yeah, let's pop over to the road real quick. I want to show you something. So just kind of that idea of the subconscious. So when I was creating this, I had this idea of where I wanted to go, and then I just started trying to add different types of iconographies and religious iconographies and crosses and seeing where things would go. But again, I was kind of talking about sometimes the textures, as you blend things, it just kind of came to this whole new kind of very subconscious world, and I didn't even realize how much it was connecting with what the author was looking for when I was doing it. But it was just kind of this healing process for me, kind of getting my own demons out, wondering what path I'm going to be on, and is it going to lead me to life or is it going to lead me to death and destruction? So you can see in this painting how in the background it might be crosses or it might be devils. We're just not quite sure. But it's an amazing book. It is called The Reckoning. It's the author is Jeffrey Pierce. We just finished book 2. That's going to be coming out soon, and he's already starting on book 3. But yeah, and maybe well, hopefully we'll be able to do something when Chase finishes the composition, and we can maybe arrange something and have an opening show with it. So, you excited, Chase, about the music?
Oh yeah,
I am.
Wonderful. Anything collaborative then something to get out of my composer shell. I'm always at the desk. So it's nice to talk to people and art and write for something.
Now, why this one out of? I mean, because there's in this book there's 33 paintings that I did. So why this this one?
Maybe it's what I was saying about the comfort of black and white, but I like it because, let's not say like, let's say move. I move